Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I want to cover a variety of topics centering around the Star Agent program, because now we're into the second phase and the sort of quote-unquote winners or the chosen content creators have been identified. So now we can kind of look forward to their content, and we can also criticize and judge the program itself, and then I can discuss a few other things that are kind of close to my heart that I want to impart onto you guys. But I just want to point this out before we get started, because I usually use a window capture in my recording software to show you guys web pages, but this time around I thought, why don't I just go through the official forums? But when you click on the official forums, because they load really nicely on your phone or on your emulator, the sound completely cuts off. The in-game sound is gone. So it'd be really nice if Netmarble designed this so that you could toggle the in-game sound on or off depending on whether you're using the forum or not and you want the in-game sounds there. If that's something that can happen, I would love that, because it's easier for me, it looks better, it kind of fits with the motif more whenever I have to show patch notes and stuff like that, and I will still have the game sounds because I really do like the music and I don't want just like dead silence when I, pause and stare at you guys. You know what I mean? So anyways, let's take a look at the Chosen Star Agents announcement. They chose a bunch of different people, 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14 different names were chosen. So big round of applause for all of the people that applied, and even bigger round of applause for those people that succeeded. That's fantastic. You have the responsibilities here, which mirror exactly what they were before, so nothing has changed. There wasn't any sleight of hand. The one thing that I think a lot of people in the community, well, there's a couple things, but one of the things I think people in the community are pointing out is one of these at the bottom here. We would ask Chosen Star Agents to give constructive feedback. Yes, I'm standing up. Constructive feedback for every Marvel Future Fight related content they create as much as possible. Now, you may not have the experience of reading Korean words or Korean sentences translated into English, but having lived in Korea, I have that power, that knowledge, and I can tell you that this was not originally written in English. This was a Korean idiom or some sort of Korean feedback that was posted and then translated into English. And so for those of you that are reading this and thinking that it means that they don't want constructive criticism, I don't know, I didn't actually write it, but I would bet that they actually mean the opposite of that, and it's not a warning to kind of go easy on us and just kiss our asses, but it is actually, in fact, do like Cynicalex does, do like some of these other guys do, and criticize us, give us as much constructive feedback as possible. So I just wanted to cover that, because when I read it myself, it seemed really obvious to me, but then I thought, well, I have a lot of experience in that department specifically, and making friends in Korea who are Korean, and then back and forth, actually it goes both ways, trying to communicate to them in English things that they'll understand in Korean, and vice versa, trying to decode their Korean and English into something that I can understand. This really struck out to me as something that you guys might be unaware of, or you might be misinterpreting. The second thing, I think, if you scroll down a little bit further, I don't want to actually show it, but if you go down into the comments, you'll realize that apparently, and I wasn't tracking this myself too closely, so I am judging more and I am reacting more based on the community's reaction than my own knowledge, but apparently there were very few, if any, non-English speaking gamers, not gamers, but agents, whatever you want to call them, YouTube content creators, chosen particularly in Brazil. And if you guys don't know, I'm actually Portuguese, so Brazil is kind of, close to the homeland, so to speak. And to that, I would say that while it is a disappointment, and while I know a lot of the, Brazilian, or not even just Brazilian, let's say South American, because it's a really important continent, whether you're a Spanish speaker or a Portuguese speaker, and if you made content for Marvel Future Fight, particularly in English, and I think this is where the kind of disagreement and the grumbling comes from, is these guys worked really hard. They put out a bunch of stuff in their native language for all their Spanish and Portuguese fans, their Brazilian, the Brasileiros, those fans, but then they also put out these 4 English videos to be eligible for the Star Agent program, and then they weren't chosen. And so some people are kind of incorrectly overreacting and shouting like racism and stuff like that. I wouldn't go that far, but I think what this shows is that there's more to the community than Netmarble possibly initially counted on, and probably they only wanted what is this, 12, 13? They only wanted this many chosen to begin with, because think about it, not only are they giving out individual crystals to individual accounts, but they're also giving out additional 300 crystals, so maybe they didn't want to flood the market too much, and they basically had too many high quality content creators applying. But even if they did make a mistake, what you should do in this case is point it out to them in a constructive way, and they can always fix it, guys. Next month, or in 2 months, one of these guys is going to end up getting dropped out eventually, and we'll talk more about that. But someone's going to make a mistake, someone's going to say something they shouldn't say, or stop making videos, or they lose their internet, or something happens. Not that I want that to happen, but things get in the way, life gets in the way, and then they may have a second round. If the program is successful, they may have a new round of potential agents being recruited, and then they can look back and say, you know what, the community really wants some Spanish speaking and English speaking, or some Brazilian centric kind of players that understand that community more, so let's get some for Ordem Brazil or whatever the top alliance is. So don't sweat it too much, don't worry about it too much. Let's kind of leave the hateful stuff out of it, and just give them constructive feedback so that they can continue to improve this very new program, guys. It's just starting out. Let's try to be a bit more supportive of it. And so in the spirit of being more supportive of it, I wanted to kind of directly address possibly the people who were chosen, not anyone specifically, but possibly those, in addition to anyone watching who just wants to or is already in the process of making any sort of content to put on the internet. And that's not just including YouTube videos on Marvel Future Fight. That could be YouTube videos on anything, not even necessarily video games. It could be a blog, it could be some sort of recipe write-up, or kind of taste testing thing. There's so much content that you can put on the internet nowadays that is not necessarily in video format, and that's not necessarily about video games. I know that's what we do here all of the time, but for any of you out there, I do have some advice and some just general information that maybe you can take away from it based on my experiences that I hope can help you out. So I just want to make it clear, because I know some of you guys, quite a few of you guys, are unaware, but I don't actually have another job. This and streaming on Twitch, and of course editing all of my videos, is my full-time job. Now, to give you a little bit of backstory so that you can understand this more clearly, I started doing YouTube at the end of June, so the beginning of July in 2016. So let's just call it July 1st, 2016. And when I started, of course, I had 0 subscribers on YouTube, and I kind of built it up from there, and I made one video every single day, and just tried to make something out of it. And at that time, I did have a full-time job, and if you've watched the streams, or if you paid attention enough, I was also living in Korea. Now, just to give you guys a sense of how much work I put in before I actually started seeing something that I could be kind of supporting myself on, when I went over to Wikipedia, the average minimum wage that's listed there for the United States, we're just going to use the United States because it's easier, and because YouTube is an American company, so they pay you in American dollars. It gets translated into your local currency, but whatever. Since 2009, the average is at least $7.25. So some states are higher, some states don't have a minimum wage, but we'll just for the sake of being kind of more simplistic, we are going to go with $7.25. So the average minimum wage in the United States, if you go work, flipping burgers at McDonald's, or I worked at, a coffee shop when I was like 19 years old, it's $7.25. Now, assuming a full-time job that is 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, And I'm not going to say that I spent 8 hours a day every day working on one YouTube video, because that would be tragically long. I definitely didn't do that. I had a full-time job working more than 8 hours a day in Korea, 5 days a week. And then I would just do YouTube when I got home from work. And then on the weekends, I would have more time to do more videos. And that's why I also started streaming on weekends. But assuming $7.25 as your minimum wage, and then assuming a full-time 40-hour per week times 4 weeks for a month job, you're looking at roughly $1,000 US per month. Now again, I'm not calculating your tax returns, and you know, different states have different taxation levels, and you know, some sort of program where you get money back if you're in a lower bracket income or whatever. I'm not going to do all that stuff, guys. It's too complicated. So we're just going to for the sake of the example, we're going to assume that you'd be making, if you worked at a, you know, minimum wage job and you worked regular full-time hours, you're making about $1,000 US per month minimum. It took me 5 months on YouTube before I actually started seeing money that was close to that number. So that means July, August, September, October, I wasn't even close. It was only in November of 2016 where I actually started to see at the end of the month a number that was close to that $1,000 US. Now, I'm not saying that that's bad. I'm just trying to give you that information so that you know I put in 4 months of one video every single day. That's 150 videos over 5 months. You know, so it's 120 videos I made where I was making way below the minimum wage, the average minimum wage in the US. And I don't even live in the US, guys. I live in Canada. The minimum wage is higher here. So I don't even want to get into that. But I'm just illustrating this to you guys because I know a lot of you guys do live in the US who watch, and it's just easier to understand it that way because my currency is like, when I get paid from YouTube, it is from US and then it gets converted into Canadian. So I just didn't want to do like conversions back and forth. But that is kind of the first thing that I wanted to illustrate for you guys. So for any of you out there who are working on something and trying to be a creator in some way, or you're thinking about it, the first thing that you have to know is that you have to be terribly consistent. You know, uploading a video, if videos is what you want to do, and that's where I have the majority of my expertise. If you want to upload a video and you're just gonna randomly upload it at a random time of the day and then just leave it for a week to see what happens, that's not really going to be as successful as if you plan it out. It's kind of like a regular job. If you just show up for one shift and then you're like, I don't know when I'm going to show up again, your boss is going to say, well, this guy's not consistent, he's not reliable, or she's not consistent. I don't think I can, you know, put this person down for that many shifts. If you treat it more like a regular job, especially because like television, like Netflix, people on the internet want to watch more if they like you. So if they see one video of yours and they like it, they're going to want to watch another one and another one. And if they know that they're going to get a steady feed of new content from you, it doesn't have to be every day, but even if it's once a week on a Wednesday, then they can start to fit you in to their schedule. And that's what ends up happening. And that's why a lot of the most successful creators, I mean, aside from like all the garbage that they do to get views and clicks, drama and shit, a lot of the boxing match anyone, a lot of them center or one of their key pillars is to be consistent about when they upload. The second piece of advice I wanted to give anybody out there is to improve on what you like to see. And this is something that I don't see enough of, specifically in the Marvel Future Fight community. I think that as a small community, content creators have this fear of looking like a copycat. And I can understand, I make a shit ton of videos, so you might feel like, oh no, I'm gonna make this video and it looks exactly the same as this video that Cynicalex made, or that, you know, Chills made, or somebody else, and you know, they're gonna think I'm ripping them off, or no, it's not like that. As long as it's your own video and you've made it yourself and you're not actually copying and pasting other people's content, other people's videos or images, screenshots, or if you're not just writing down word for word what they say and regurgitating it, then it's still your work. You know, you and all your friends in high school, you went to the same Wikipedia website to find information for your projects, but you all then wrote it yourselves, unless you didn't, in which case you're screwed. But that's kind of what I want to illustrate here. See what you like. Who do you like to watch on YouTube? Don't pick me. But who do you like to watch? Even big YouTubers. Some of the biggest YouTubers that I personally enjoyed watching, I tried to take some of what makes them successful and apply it to myself, whether it was in my outro graphics or certain things that I said during the video, towards the beginning, towards the end, how I structured my videos. Little things like this really helped me better define what I wanted, and I think it made an overall better viewing experience for you guys. And it even shows in my thumbnails and stuff like that, where there's not only consistency, but there's a formula that I keep trying to tweak and improve based on what I see as successful, of course, in other thumbnails that I want to click. The last thing I want to say that I hope helps you guys is to bring something new, and this is probably the hardest one to do, so sorry if it's confusing, but there's even in a small community like Marvel Future Fight, there's a ton of content out there, and I'm thankful now that there's more than there's ever been. So thank you to you guys for putting more content out there. But with more and more content, of course, there's competition, but there's also a lot of repetition, and so you have to find a way to make yourself unique in some way, whether it's not showing your face and just having audio, or having some sort of different video that's not necessarily you, but it's something to watch and something to look at, or having some sort of presentation style that includes heavier editing, or it includes some sort of cut, some sort of break, doing characters, different voices, dressing up, acting. There's so many things that you can do, and I just touched on a few of them, but there's so many different things you can do to kind of stand out just a little bit. You don't have to go crazy, and you don't have to, be completely extreme opposite of everyone else out there, especially within your own community, but just putting your kind of unique stamp on everything that you do is going to attract more people to you, especially if they like what that stamp means and they can feel that it's genuine and it's authentic to you, So I wanted to give you guys that information. I wanted to give you a little bit of backstory on me, because I kind of wonder in the back of my mind, and maybe you will too now, what would have happened to little Cynicalex if this, oh, it's not on the screen anymore, if this Star Agent program had been around, had been announced back when I started on YouTube. Would things have been different? Would they have been the same? I don't know. I really don't know. And shout out to all the OGs that were on YouTube before me doing Marvel Future Fight content, Team Mizzle, etc. You know who you are. Yeah. The other guy from that one alliance, I can't remember his name now. He was really good at ABX back in the day, and he made some builds. I can't remember his name. If anyone can remember his name, he had really good scores. Anyways, it wasn't Team Mizzle. Anyways, so I wanted to hit you guys up with all that. Let me know what you think. Hit me up down below in the comments. Subscribe if you enjoy the content, and of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.